Adapted from archaic translation by W.H.D. Rhys. Jataka number 281. Abbhantara-Jātaka. There grows a tree, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana monastery, about the elder monk Sariputra giving mango juice to the sister Bimbadevi. When the Supreme Buddha inaugurated the universal reign of his nirvanic path. While living in a room at Vaishali city, the chief wife of the Gautam with 500 ladies of the Shakya clan asked for initiation, and received initiation and full holy order of disciples. Afterwards the 500 sisters became saints on hearing the preaching of Nandaka. But when the master was living near Shravasti city, the mother of Rahul thought to herself, "My husband on embracing the religious life has become infinitely knowledgeable. My son too has become a religious/ascetic, and lives with him. What am I to do in the midst of the house? I will enter on this life, and go to Shravasti city, and I will live looking upon the Supreme Buddha and my son continually." So she took herself to a nunnery, and entered the order, and went and lived in a cell at Shravasti city, in company of her teachers and instructors, seeing the master and her beloved son. The novice Rahul came and saw his mother. One day, the sister was afflicted with stomach pains. And when her son came to see her, she could not get to see him, but some others came and told him she was ill. Then he went in, and asked his mother, "What should you take?" "Son," said she, "at home this pain used to be cured by mango juice flavored with sugar. But now we live by begging, and where can we get it?" Said the novice, "I'll get it for you," and departed. Now the instructor of his reverence Rahul was the captain of the faith, his teacher was the great Moggallana, his uncle was the elder monk Ananda, and his father was the Supreme Buddha. Thus he had great luck. However, he went to no other but only to his instructor. And after greeting him, stood before him with a sad look. "Why do you seem sad, Rahul?" asked the elder monk. "Sir," he replied, "my mother is ill with stomach pains. What must she take? Mango juice and sugar does her good." "All right, I'll get some. Don't trouble about it." So next day he took the boy to Shravasti city, and seating him in a waiting room, went up to the palace. The king of Kosala asked the elder monk to be seated. At that very moment the gardener brought a basket of sweet mangoes ripe for food. The king removed the skin, sprinkled sugar, crushed them up himself, and filled the elder monk's bowl for him. The elder monk returned to the place of waiting and gave them to the novice, asking him give them to his mother. And so he did. No sooner had the sister eaten, than her pain was cured. The king also sent messengers, saying, "The elder monk did not sit here to eat the mango juice. Go and find out whether he gave it to anyone." The messenger went along with the elder monk, and found out, and then returned to tell the king. Thought the king, if the master should return to a worldly life, he would be an universal monarch. The novice Rahul would be his treasure the crown prince, the holy sister would be his treasure the empress, and all the universe would belong to them. I must go and attend upon them. Now they are living close by, there is no time to be lost. So from that day he continually gave mango syrup to the holy sister. It became known among the brothers how the elder monk gave mango syrup to the holy sister. And one day they started talking in the hall of truth. "Friend, I hear that the elder monk Sariputra comforted sister Bimbadevi with mango syrup." The master came in and asked, "What are you talking about now?" When they told him this is not the first time, brothers, that Rahul's mother was comforted with mango syrup by the elder monk. The same happened before. And he told them an old world tale. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a Brahmin family living in a village of Kasi. When he grew up, he was educated at Taxila, settled down into family life, and on the death of his parents embraced the religious life. After that he remained in the region of Himalaya, cultivating the faculties and the attainments. A body of sages gathered round him, and he became their teacher. At the end of a long he came down from the hills to get salt and spices, and in the course of his wanderings arrived at Benares, where he took up his dwelling in a park. And at the glory of the virtue of this company of holy men the palace of Saka shook. Saka thought, and perceived what it was. Thought he, I will do an injury to their living. Then their stay will he disturbed. They will be too much distressed to have tranquillity of mind. Then I shall be comfortable again. As he thought how to do it, he hit upon a plan. I will enter the chamber of the chief queen. Just at the middle watch of the night, and hovering in the air, I will say, Lady, if you eat a midmost mango, you will conceive a son, who shall become a universal monarch. She will tell the king, and he will send to the orchard for a mango fruit. I will cause all the fruit to disappear. They will tell the king that there is none, and when he asks who eats it, they will say the ascetics. So just in the middle watch, he appeared in the queen's chamber, and hovering in the air, revealed his godhead, and conversing with her, repeated the first two stanzas. There grows a tree, with fruit divine on that. Men call it middlemost. And if one be with child, and eat of it, she shall soon bear one to hold the whole wide earth in reign. Lady, you are a mighty queen indeed. The king, your husband, holds you glad and dear. Ask him to procure the mango for your need, and he the midmost fruit will bring you here. These stanzas did Saka recite to the queen. And then asking her be careful, and make no delay, but tell the matter to the king herself, he encouraged her, and went back to his own place. Next day, the queen lay down, as though ill, giving instructions to her maidservants. The king sat upon his throne, under the white umbrella, and looked on at the dancing. Not seeing his queen, he asked a maidservant where she was. The queen is sick, replied the girl. So the king went to see her. And sitting by her side, stroked her back, and asked, What is the matter, lady? Nothing, said she, but that I have a craving for something. What is it you want, lady? He asked again. A middle mango, my lord. Where is there such a thing as a middle mango? I don't know what a middle mango is. But I know that I shall die if I don't get one. All right, we will get you one. Don't trouble about it. So the king consoled her, and went away. He took his seat upon the royal divan, and sent for his courtiers. My queen has a great craving for a middle mango. What is to be done? Said he. Someone told him, a middle mango is one which grows between two others. Send to your park, and find a mango growing between two others. Pick its fruit and let us give it to the queen. So the king sent men to do after this manner. But Saka by his power made all the fruit disappear, as though it had been eaten. The men who came for the mangoes searched the whole park through, and not a mango could they find. So back they went to the king, and told him that mangoes there were none. Who is it eats the mangoes? Asked the king. The ascetics, my lord. Give the ascetics a thrashing, and bundle them out of the park. He commanded. The people heard and obeyed. Saka's wish was fulfilled. The queen lay on and on, longing for the mango. The king could not think what to do. He gathered his courtiers and his Brahmins, and asked them, Do you know what a middle mango is? Said the Brahmins. My lord, a middle mango is the portion of the gods. It grows in Himalaya, in the Golden Cave. So we have heard by immemorial tradition. Well, who can go and get it? A human being cannot go. We must send a young parrot. At that time there was a fine young parrot in the king's family, as big as the wheel in the prince's carriage, strong, clever, and full of sharp crafty ways. This parrot the king sent for, and thus addressed him, Dear parrot, I have done a great deal for you. You live in a golden cage. You have sweet grain to eat on a golden dish. You have sugared water to drink. There's something I want you to do for me, speak on, my lord, said the parrot. Son, my queen has a craving for a middle mango. This mango grows in Himalaya, in the Golden Mountain. It is the god's portion, no human being can go there. You must bring the fruit back from there. Very good, my king, I will, said the parrot. Then the king gave him sweetened grain to eat, on a golden plate, and sugar water to drink. And anointed him beneath the wings with oil 100 times refined. Then he took him in both hands, and standing at a window, let him fly away. The parrot, on the king's work, flew along in the air, beyond the ways of men, till he came to some parrots which lived in the first hill region of Himalaya. Where is the middle mango? He asked them. Tell me the place. We know not, said they, but the parrots in the second range of hills will know. The parrot listened, and flew away to the second range. After that he went on to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. There too the parrots said, we do not know, but those in the seventh range will know. So he went on there, and asked where the middle mango tree grew. In such and such a place, on the golden hill, they said. I have come for the fruit of it, said he, guide me there, and procure the fruit for me. That is the portion of the king Vesavana. It is impossible to get near it. The whole tree from the roots upwards is encircled with 7 iron nets. It is guarded by thousands of millions of Kumbhanda goblins. If they see anyone, he's done for. The place is like the fire of the dissolution and the fire of hell. Do not ask such a thing. If you will not go with me, then describe the place to me, said he. So they told him to go by such and such a way. He listened carefully to their instructions. He did not show himself by day. But at dead of night, when the goblins were asleep, he approached the tree, and began softly to climb on one of its roots, when clink went the iron net. The goblins awoke, saw the parrot, and seized him, crying, thief. Then they discussed what was to be done with him. Says one, I'll throw him into my mouth, and swallow him. Says another, I'll crush him and knead him in my hands and scatter him in bits. Says a third, I'll split him in two, and cook him on the coals and eat him. The parrot heard them deliberating. Without any fear he addressed them, I say, goblins, whose men are you? We belong to King Vesavana. Well, you have one king for your master, and I have another for mine. The king of Benares sent me here to fetch a fruit of the middle mango tree. Then and there I gave my life to my king, and here I am. He who loses his life for parents or master is born at once in heaven. Therefore I shall pass at once from this animal form to the world of the gods. And he repeated the third stanza. Whatever be the place which they attain who, by heroic self-forgetfulness, make efforts with all zeal a master's end to gain to that same place, I soon shall win access. After this fashion did he discourse, repeating this stanza. The goblins listened, and were pleased in their heart. This is a righteous creature, said they, we must not kill him, let him go. So they let him go, and said, I say, parrot, you're free. Go unharmed out of our hands. Do not let me return empty-handed, said the parrot. Give me a fruit off the tree. Parrot, they said, it is not our business to give you fruit off this tree. All the fruit on this tree is marked. If there is one fruit wrong we shall lose our lives. If Vesavana is angry and looks but once, 1,000 goblins are broken up and scattered like parched peas hopping about on a hot plate. So we cannot give you any. But we will tell you a place where you can get some. I care not who gives it, said the parrot, but the fruit I must have. Tell me where I may get it. In one of the tortuous paths of the Golden Mountain lives an ascetic, by name Jyotirasa, who watches the sacred fire in a leaf-thatched hut, called Kankanapati, or gold leaf, a favorite of Vesavana. And sends him constantly 4 fruits from the tree. Go to him. The parrot took his leave, and came to the ascetic. He gave him greeting, and sat down on one side. The ascetic asked him, Where have you come from? From the king of Benares. Why are you come? Master, our queen has a great craving for the fruit of the middle mango, and that is why I am come. However, the goblins would not give me any themselves, but sent me to you. Sit down, then, and you shall have one, said the ascetic. Then came the 4 which Vessavana used to send. The ascetic ate 2 of them, gave the parrot 1 to eat, and when this was eaten he hung the 4th by a string, and made it fast around the parrot's neck, and let him go off with you, now, said he. The parrot flew back and gave it to the queen. She ate it, and satisfied her craving, but still all the same she had no son. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth in these words. At that time Rahul's mother was the queen, Ananda was the parrot, Saraputra was the ascetic who gave the mango fruit, but the ascetic who lived in the park was I myself. Source. Adapted from archaic translation by W.H.D. Rhys. Jataka number 282. Seyya-Jātaka. It is best that you should know, etc. This tale the master told at Jataka monastery, about a courtier of the king of Kosala. This man was very useful to the king, we are told, and did everything that had to be done. Because he was very useful, the king did him great honor. The others were jealous, and concocted a slander, and calumniated him. The king believed their saying, and without inquiring into his guilt, bound him in chains, though virtuous and innocent, and throw him into prison. There he lived all alone. But, by reason of his virtue, he had peace of mind, and with mind at peace he understood the conditions of existence, and attained the fruition of the first path. In due course of time the king found that he was guiltless, and broke his chains and gave him honor more than before. The man wished to pay his respects to the master. And taking flowers and perfumes, he went to the monastery, and did reverence to the Buddha, and sat respectfully aside. The master talked graciously with him. "We have heard that ill fortune happened to you," said he. "Yes, sir, but I made my ill fortune into good. And as I sat in prison, I produced the fruition of the first path." "Good friend," said the master, "you are not the only one who has turned evil into good. For wise men in the olden time turned evil into good as you did." And he told an old world tale. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as the son of his queen wife. He grew up and was educated at Taxila. And on his father's death he became king, and kept the 10 royal rules. He gave alms, practiced virtue, and observed the sacred day. Now one of his courtiers intrigued among the king's wives. The servants noticed it, and told the king that so and so was carrying on an intrigue. The king found out the very truth of the matter, and sent for him. "Never show yourself before me again," said he, and banished him. The man went off to the court of a neighboring king, and then all happened as described above in the Mahasalava birth. Here too this king thrice tested him, and believing the word of the courtier came with a great army before Benares with intent to take it. When this was known to the chief warriors of the king of Benares, 500 in number, they said to the king, "Such and such a king has come here, wasting the country, with intent to take Benares here, let us go and capture him." "I want no kingdom that must be kept by doing harm," said the king. "Do nothing at all." The marauding king surrounded the city. Again the courtiers approached the king, and said, "My lord, be advised, let us capture him." "Nothing can be done," said the king. "Open the city gates." Then, surrounded by his court, he sat down in state upon the great dais. The marauder entered the town, felling the men at the 4 gates and ascended the terrace. There he took prisoner the king with all his court, throw chains upon them and throw them into prison. The king, as he sat in prison, pitied the marauder, and an ecstasy of pity was stirred in him. By reason of this pity, the other king felt great torment in his body. He burnt all through as though with a 2 times flame. and overcome with great pain, he asked what the matter was. They replied, "You have put a righteous king into prison, that is why this is come upon you." He went and craved pardon of the Bodhisattva, and restored his kingdom, saying, "Your kingdom be your own. Henceforth leave your enemies for me to deal with." He punished the evil adviser, and returned to his own city. The Bodhisattva sat in state upon his high dais, in festive dress, with his court around him. And addressing them repeated the first two stanzas. "It is best that you should know, the better part is always the better thing to do. By treating one with kindliness of heart, I saved 100 men from death their due. Therefore to all the world I tell you to show the grace of kindliness and friendship dear. And then alone to heaven you shall not go. O people of the Kasi country, hear." Thus the great being praised virtue in the way of pitying the great lot. And leaving the white umbrella in the great city of Benares, 12 leagues in extent, retired to Himalaya, and embraced the religious life. The master, in his perfect wisdom, repeated the third stanza. "These are the words that I, King Kamsa, said, I the great ruler of Benares town. I laid my bow, I laid my arrow case down, and my self-mastery I perfected." When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time Ananda was the marauding king, but the king of Benares was I myself.